Welcome to the channel, guys. Today I've got 4 stories in a news roundup for you that I think you'll be interested in. Before we get started, I'd appreciate if you'd like, share, and subscribe. Huge boost to the channel. Greatly appreciated. All right. This week, the Department of Justice put James Comey's story under a microscope, and the timestamps do not help him. The State Department is lining up the largest visa revocation in American history. People who said they were tourists and then filed for asylum. Republicans are building a midterm plan the party in power almost never gets to run. And the Supreme Court just cleared a path for President Trump's mail-in ballot order heading into November. 4 stories, 1 theme. The people who spent years lecturing the country about norms are finding out that the laws still apply when the other team is in charge. All right, story 1, James Comey. May 15th, 2025, James Comey posts a photo from a North Carolina beach. Seashells arranged to read 8647. The caption on his Instagram post was "Cool shell formation on my beach walk." He later said he didn't realize that some people associate 86 with violence. He took the post down. He said he opposes violence of any kind. That's the public version. Here's what prosecutors are now putting in front of a federal judge in the Eastern District of North Carolina. Comey's charged with 2 felonies, threatening the life of the President of the United States and transmitting that threat across state lines. The maximum on each count is 10 years in prison. And this week, the Justice Department answered Comey's motions to kill the case. Their filing is blunt. Okay, and here's a quote. There's no serious dispute that an objective viewer of Comey's post could read it to mean kill the president, kill President Trump. The digital trail is the part that should end the "I just found the Seashells" story. Okay, prosecutors say that Comey's wife researched the meaning of 86 before the post went up, not after the outrage, but before publication. They say she sent him a definition of the slang to get rid of or refuse service at 3:12 p.m. 2 minutes later, at 3:14, the Instagram post went live. This is not a man stumbling onto art. This is a man checking the vocabulary. They also say he never produced the original photo with metadata. He sent a screenshot. That's why they went to iCloud. Now here's the deal. The FBI is requesting the original photo. And Comey decided he wasn't going to give him that because he knows what metadata is. So he took a screenshot of it and sent that to his lawyer, who gave it to the FBI. Let's check out this video that's going to tell us some more about all this.
Big story we'll start with. James Comey's wife is expected to be interviewed after the Secret Service spoke with the former FBI director last night. The Department of Homeland Security is investigating Comey's alleged death threat against President Trump. His now deleted Instagram post featuring an 8647 shell formation is being interpreted by many as a call to 86 or get rid of the 47th president. Comey met with Secret Service agents at their field office for a 70-minute interview last night and claimed that it never occurred to him that those numbers were associated with violence. But the president isn't buying it.
He knew exactly what that meant. A child knows what that meant. If you're the FBI director and you don't know what that meant assassination. And it says it loud and clear. He's a dirty cop. And if he had a clean history, I could understand if there was a leniency. But I'm going to let them make that decision. But he knew exactly what it said.
Now, Comey has a history of trashing Trump. Just last year, he dreamed about the president going to prison.
I've never seen a defendant beg for it more by attacking the judge, attacking the jury, attacking the witnesses. They would just put him in a double wide somewhere out near the fence, out in the grass. And he would eat there, he'd shower there, he'd exercise there, he'd be away, as Danya Perry said.
Listen to this piece of trash. He knows all these charges are completely fabricated. And this is what he's saying.
From general population, but it's obviously doable.
It's scary that that guy was the FBI director. And we know that violent rhetoric from the left has real consequences.
Take a look at what happened.
And just months later, a second man was arrested for trying to kill the president in Florida.
Hey, Sean.
All right. Look, let's just say this very simply. If you're the former director of the FBI, you know what metadata is. You know what 8647 means. You know why investigators want the original file. Then there's the book. Okay, Comey published a novel right at the same time that all this is happening about a public figure who uses coded language to sick his followers on political enemies, a stochastic terrorism with a beach house aesthetic. I mean, can you even believe that? Prosecutors are using his own fiction against him. You do not get to write a manual on dog whistle violence and then pretend you cannot hear the whistle. A family member of Comey's texted his wife after the post. The relative called it Trump derangement syndrome and said 8647 is a call for violence no matter how you spin it. And they said they hoped Jim would go to jail. Comey's lawyers call this vindictive. They say 86 just means to take it off the menu. They point to thousands of 8647 shirts on Amazon. They want a Frank's hearing. Okay, they want the warrants thrown out. Fine. Let a jury hear it. Let them hear the former FBI director claim he did not know what 8647 meant after 2 assassination attempts on Donald Trump. Let them hear the search history, okay, and how his wife was searching this before he put the post out. Let them hear about the 2-minute gap in between. Equal justice is not revenge. It's a thing Comey spent a decade denying other people. All right, story number 2, visa revocations. A visa is a privilege. It's not a coupon for a new life paid for by American taxpayers. The State Department is preparing to revoke B1 and B2 visas, business and tourist visas issued between 2016 and 2026 to foreigners who entered as short-term visitors and then filed for asylum to stay permanently. Reporting puts the universe at up to 200,000 people. If they execute it, it's the largest mass visa revocation in U.S. history. State Department spokesman Tommy Pigot said it plainly. They are coordinating with DHS to identify and revoke visas of people who claim to be short-term visitors and then filed for asylum to stay here for good. Deputy Secretary Christopher Landau called it what it is. Asylum is not supposed to be a loophole to walk around immigration law. Getting a tourist visa in order to seek asylum is fraud. Fraud is grounds for revocation. This is on top of the work already done. The State Department says more than 175,000 visas have already been pulled by this administration. Criminals, fraudsters, people who called for violence against Americans, people who abuse the system, assault, DUI, theft, drugs, child abuse. It's not family separation. That's house cleaning. Let's take a look at this video about it.
Trump administration is reportedly getting ready for the largest mass visa revocation in U.S. history. Up to 200,000 are potentially on the chopping block. News Nation national correspondent Marcus Espinoza is following this story live for us from New York City this morning. Marcus, this could impact everybody from tourists to scientists. How's this about to work?
Hey, Marky, good morning. This is a huge deal. Could affect a lot of people. The administration is making changes to several visa programs, with one possibly costing more than $100,000. So also expensive. The AP is reporting an official announcement regarding the B1, B2 visas that could come in the next few weeks here. A State Department spokesperson tells thehill.com, we are coordinating with DHS to identify and revoke the non-immigrant visas of foreigners who have come to the United States claiming to be short-term visitors, but then file for asylum to stay here permanently. In addition to the changes to the asylum seekers with tourist visas, the administration wants to impose a fee of more than $100,000 for those who want to enter on a H-1B visa. That's a popular one. It allows U.S. companies to hire what the government calls non-immigrant aliens for temporary employment. Experts are concerned, though, that such a steep fee could negatively impact several things, including science, math, engineering, and technology fields, many of which use the H-1B visa to bring those experts here to America.
I think the United States, particularly the scientific community, will suffer greatly, and we will be behind for years to come, because this research will now go to countries like Singapore and to China.
Okay, so President Trump tried to do this before, a similar fee last year, but a judge said that was unlawful, threw that out. The new proposal says the fee would help fund things like immigration courts.
Thank you.
All right, so the left will scream mass deportation theater. Listen to the actual mechanism. Revocation does not magically load 200,000 people onto planes tomorrow. Pending asylum cases get reclassified. They lose tourist and business status. The rolling process is the point. You close the back door so the next 200,000 do not copy the same scam. They also paused worldwide visa appointments to train consular officers on public charge rules, whether an applicant is likely to live on food stamps or housing. Medicaid benefits are for citizens. This is not cruelty. This is the social contract. Tom Homan has been saying the same thing for years. If you do not enforce the front line, you insult every legal immigrant who did it the right way. This is the mandate. 2024 was not a suggestion. Tourism is not a stealth residency program. Okay, so that's, I think, the exact position that we all take on this. Let's go on to the third story, the midterm strategy. Every textbook says the president's party loses the House in the first midterm. The president his party has only won 3 times in the last 100 years during the midterms. Okay, that's just a fact. Average loss in the modern era is brutal. As I just told you, Democrats are counting on that gravity. Trump is trying to break it. There's 4 pieces. 1, maps. After the Supreme Court narrowed the old Voting Rights Act demand for race-based districts, Republican legislatures in Texas, Florida, Alabama, Louisiana, Tennessee, Missouri, Ohio, and North Carolina redrew their districts. Analysts have put the GOP pickup from new lines in the high single digits to around a dozen seats. A Missouri judge just kept a Trump back map in force for November. That one cracks Kansas City and forces a Democrat to run in a district full of new voters. Democrats will call it gerrymandering. They did not call it that when Gavin Newsom ran a referendum to grab seats in California. Maps are power. Both sides know it. Only one side pretends otherwise. And you know what side that is. 2, money. MAGA Inc. has been raising at a scale that used to belong to the other team. Elon Musk's PAC is It is in Senate and House races. In House contests, the candidate who spends more still wins the overwhelming majority of the time. You do not have to like super PACs to understand the arithmetic. 3. Contrast, Republicans are running border, energy, voter ID, and wages. Democrats are dragging the Democratic Socialists of America into the mainstream. And a lot of the country does not want a DSA platform as the national brand. Michigan's Senate primary already flashed that fight. Pin them to the extreme. Do not let them hide behind reproductive rights while they own open border chaos and anti-cop rhetoric. And 4, the convention. Dallas, September 9th and 10th. J.D. Vance, the president. A midterm convention is a turnout machine if they use it that way. Show the record, name the stakes, and tell the people that's a lost house means investigations, which it most certainly would. Impeachment talk, and a 2-year freeze on the agenda. History is thin here. The party in power gained House seats in 1934, 1998, and 2002. Rare is not impossible. Rare is a warning. You only get this if you show up. And Republicans, with their entire ecosystem, without even Elon Musk's $200 million he's putting in, Republicans already had over $1 billion to spend. So whereas Democrats are going to have to pick and choose which races they want to just give up on, Republicans can afford to put money into and fight every single one. And because of the redrawn districts, we have a 12 or 14 seat lead going in. So I believe that we will break the odds, the historical odds, that this will be the 4th time in 100 years the president's party is going to take the midterms. That's my personal feeling, looking at everything, all the data that's out there. And we've got the money, where usually the Democrats are the ones with the money. But because of their socialist agenda, people just aren't donating to them. All right, let's go. The last story here, we'll wrap it up. Mail-in ballots. The Supreme Court 6-3 lifted a lower court block on key parts of President Trump's March executive order on mail-in ballots. What the order actually does, not what cable news says it does. The federal government can compile lists of voters eligible to receive federal ballots. States are told to give the Postal Service information so those lists can be verified and checked. The administration's argument is basic. Ballots should not go out to people who are not eligible to vote. 23 Democrat states and DC sued. Of course they did. Mail-in ballots, mail-in volume without identity control is not access. It's a stack of paper nobody can audit in real time. Nobody can verify it. The ruling is not the final word on every clause. Other challenges are already in the pipeline, but it takes the injunction off the table for now, which matters because November is not a law review article. It's a deadline. Pair this with the rest of the integrity push: citizenship verification, prosecution priorities for people handing out ballots who should not, tracking on mail-in ballots, and also tracking on mail-in ballots, and the Save America framework, voter ID, and proof of citizenship is the legislative half. The court just gave the executive half oxygen. Democrats will say this is voter suppression. Show them the actual ask. Prove you're a real citizen. This is how you get on an airplane. This is how you have to buy beer in this country. Even a gun, same thing. I mean, you have to show ID for so many things. It's not too much to ask before you help choose the House of Representatives that you're actually a citizen with the right to vote. if the midterms are close, this fight, you know, the midterms are going to be close, but I believe that we're going to be on the upper end of it. We're just poised in every single area to do that, and we absolutely have to. I have a clip from Fox News about this. Let's take a listen.
All right, now to the serious stuff. The Supreme Court handing President Trump a major victory on mail-in voting restrictions ahead of the midterms.
Alex Hogan joins us now from the White House with the details. Good morning, Alex.
Hey, good morning. So the Supreme Court giving President Trump the green light to move forward with part of his plan to restrict mail-in voting, at least for now. So this was a 6-3 vote in favor of this, a major win for President Trump. It lifts a lower court block that prevented the administration from implementing key parts of Trump's March executive order, which called for the federal government to create lists of voters eligible to receive federal ballots. It requires states to provide information so the Postal Service can verify that voters on those lists are eligible. The administration argues that the goal is to protect election integrity and prevent ballots from going to people who are not eligible. But Democratic officials in 23 states and D.C. sued to block the order. They argue that the president is overstepping his authority and the Constitution gives states the primary role in administering elections. They say this fight is far from over. So California Governor Gavin Newsom reacted saying, quote, California will be suing again to block these Orwellian rules from being implemented. Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker responded, quote, the Supreme Court's decision allowing Donald Trump and the U.S. Postal Service to move forward with this unprecedented attempt to interfere in our elections is deeply troubling. And New York Governor Kathy Hochul stated New York challenged this unlawful executive order from the very beginning, and we will continue the fight. The Supreme Court did not rule that Trump's executive order is legal. Justices instead ruled that the states who sued did not have the legal right to challenge it. And with just 70 days to go until the midterms, there's a lot of questions over whether these new rules could be implemented before then. Ainsley, Brian, Lawrence, back to you.
All right, thanks so much, Alex.
Thank you so much.
All right, so you listen to the quotes from those governors. I mean, here, let's just say it how it is. They're panicked because they know if they can't cheat, they won't win. It'll be the beginning of the end for the Democratic Party. And that's the reality, in my opinion. Guys, thanks for sticking with me. I hope you share the video out, make a comment. I'll be in the comments. I'll try and get some answers back to you. Very much appreciate you spending the time with me. Have a wonderful day. God bless.